Hey, great morning, everyone, and welcome back. Great morning and welcome back. Welcome back. Happy New Year. We're gonna give it a little second for everyone to be notified, and then we're gonna audio is good. See what we look like over here. See what we look. Oh, we're live there too. Nice. And let's make sure that we are live on. Great. We got great audio. We are going to give it a second and let everyone come in. And yeah, I see we have one viewer already. Look at that. So it's coming in. Yes, let's give it a second for everyone to populate. And we're going to get started at 3 minutes. So it's not even 8 o'clock yet. It's 7:55:59. So we're going to start at 8:03. So grab your coffee, grab your wheatgrass, grab your tea, and we will be back in less than 4 minutes. Happy to be back and got some good gems to share with you guys. So yeah, looking forward to it. First of all, how has the new year been thus far? You know, they say the first week of the year is a microcosm for the entire year. Pretty much the way you start this week, kind of gives you a snapshot of your performance for the remainder of the year. Is that wholeheartedly true? Of course not. I've known people myself have turned things around, did lackluster performance all year, and then summer just go full throttle. So it's not science, it's not in stone, but definitely you want to set the tone coming in the first week of the year. So far this week has been amazing. I have eliminated the snooze button. so 4 o'clock when it goes off. So normally I would set multiple alarms, 4:15, for 10. No. Now it's one alarm, 4 o'clock. And if that doesn't get me up, then too bad. So it's been working so far. So today's Wednesday, 3 days in, 4 o'clock, boom, I'm up. One alarm, and I put the phone on the other side of the room. So I have to get up. There's no rolling over and I have to get up and turn it off. So that has been working so far. Share with me how your new year has been going. First of all, Mr. Jeff? Go West, set the stone, man. I have to, man. I have to. Nice seeing you, brother. Happy New Year. We're gonna get started in 2 minutes. 8:03. Yeah. So just sharing a little bit about how the first 3 days of my 2023 has been going. And I've always heard about the snooze button and how unproductive it is. And I would be like, nah, man, snooze is God's gift to me. And snooze is God's way of saying I love you, Wes. But I figured I would give it a try. So normally, like I said, I'm not sure when you jumped on, if I need to get up at 4 or 4:30, I would set the alarm for 4, 4:15, 4:10, 4:11, 4:12, and then finally get out at 4:30. But now, one alarm, 4 o'clock, boom, got to get up. So far, 3 days in, it has been well. And in that 30 minutes, I'm able to knock out my morning success ritual. So I get my meditation in, my calisthenics, I get my meditation, praying, got all of that in that 30 minutes. So at 4:30, I'm ready to go. So yeah, that's how it's been so far. All right, so it's 8:03. Let's get this show started. Great morning, business owners and managers. Wes Walters here, and welcome to the first episode of CX in the Morning for 2023. I'm your gracious host, Mr. Wes Walters, and on every single CX in the Morning, I bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks and gems. And by gems, I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. Happy birthday. Get up, get something. I too am starting up at 4 a.m. You don't even have to tell me Jeff is a high achiever. If you start your day at 4 a.m., you're a high achiever. I don't even have to read his bio. No, anyone that starts their day at 4 a.m. is a high achiever. So salute to you, Jeff. All right, so today we're going to talk about, first of all, the check-in before the lesson. How is everyone doing? No, I mean, not how is your business doing? How are you doing? Spiritually, emotionally, how are you doing? Because at the CEO of the organization, it doesn't matter how business is going. If you're not well, the business is not going to do well. The business is a lag metric of you, yes, or the people that you delegate to run the business. So I want to be sure that everyone is doing well. If you're doing well, just give me a thumbs up. Give me some blue gems, letting me know that you are well. So today we're going to talk about, it's going to be a real quick show. It's going to be a doozy as always. We're going to talk about the post-pandemic. It's fair to say, hopefully the CDC is not watching, it's fair to say that the pandemic is, well, I don't want to sound disrespectful to anyone who is battling COVID right now. Quote unquote, the pandemic is over. It's fair to say that. Well, the worst of the pandemic is over. How do I politically correctly say this without offending those who are currently struggling with COVID or from a business point of view? All right, in my circle of influence, we have agreed that the pandemic is over. There you go. Let me personalize it. In my circle of influence, we've agreed that the pandemic is over and it's full throttle for business. So we want to talk about real quick what changed during the pandemic. Were you able to pivot as a business owner? That's the hashtag word for the pandemic is pivot. Everyone was like, I got to pivot. And those who were in a position to pivot were able to pivot. Those who were in concrete, they realized that being in concrete was not so much of a good idea. Being fluid like water, like Bruce Lee would say, be water, my friend. Those who were fluid like water were able to pivot and not only just continue with business, but saw exponential growth. We're talking hockey stick type of growth. The pandemic pulled the covers back for everyone who was faking it, everyone who was fake it till you make it. Yeah. Everyone who was, I'm just gonna just put one foot in front of the other with no plan, just gonna keep moving one foot. The pandemic pulled that safety net off of you, and everybody was left naked. Like, oh my God, I'm really not doing good. So all that fronting on Instagram, that, hey, here's me with another Lambo. The pandemic cleared all of that up quickly. And it really showed you who was running legitimate businesses and who were running business. Now, hate to say, let me don't say this because a lot of people have COVID still. So anyway, the pandemic is again within my circle of influence is over. So we want to show what changed during the pandemic and what's here to stay. So let me share my screen and we can get this presentation going. Boom. All right. So there's my screen. We're going to I have a little quick presentation, or I guess slides better, to illustrate my my point. So let's begin. All right. So now, when I say Uber Eats, I mean all of these guys. But of course, I say Uber Eats because Uber Eats is the most dominant one. I personally don't use any of these services because I just don't trust humanity that well, like that much. And because I used to work in the food industry and I know how rogue and upset servers behave when they're upset. I don't want any extra sauce in my food. So I don't use any of these services, but everyone else on the planet uses these services except Wes. Hey, Shay Norman, happy New Year, Shay Norman. Happy New Year, Shay in the morning. It's a pleasure to see you on, my friend. So, if you're just tuning in, Shay, we're talking about post-pandemic. On my first slide, let me show you my first slide. Post-pandemic, and we're talking about the things that what happened, who was able to pivot, and what's here to stay. So, some of these companies, definitely Uber Eats was here before the pandemic, and some of them came about after the pandemic. But definitely, we saw a jump. These businesses saw hockey stick growth. Definitely. So what changed was, of course, delivery services. We saw a spike in delivery services. Of course, curbside pickup was something that wasn't invented during the pandemic, but was definitely, again, we saw a hockey stick growth. Great morning, Miss Darby. We're talking about post-pandemic, what has happened, and who was able to pivot, and what's here to stay. So great morning to you. Happy that you're here. So again, of course, curbside pickup was something that a lot of businesses implemented. Now, of course, that came in the form of food. It also came in to serve as like Walmart, literally the Walmart by my house. Man, this is a bad picture. The Walmart by my house has 1,000 rows of pickup reserved for pickup. Like there are like 50 regular parking and 10,000 for reserve. I'm kidding you not. Like in order to go to the Walmart where I live, you have to park at the Best Buys. Like the Walmart parking lot is at the Best Buys, and everything else is reserved. The regular parking lots are like you have to take a shuttle to get to the Walmart, because Walmart has positioned their business right now where and you know what? These were the parking spaces that were allocated for handicap. So now the reserve, the shop and pull up, and we're gonna shop for you and put it in your trunk. These people have the same prestige as the handicap signs. Like they're literally closer to the building than the handicaps. I wish I was making it up. True story. But as you can see, Walmart was able to pivot. Be like, hey, look, a lot of people can't shop. Have no fear. We're going to shop for you. And all you got to do is pull up. That's all you got to do. Pop the trunk. You don't even have to take your mask off. You can continue feeding the kids. You can continue watching that YouTube video. You can continue watching Wes Walters. You can continue doing whatever you have to do. All you got to do is pull up, pop the trunk, and we're going to put it in your trunk. Again, I've never used that stuff because for me, I like to, I just can't see myself selecting produce. And not that I get most of my produce from Walmart, but on occasions when I don't have time to go to the farmer's market and I get some stuff from Walmart, I don't see how, the intern or the high school kid is going to select the best grapes for me. He's just probably just grabbing grapes. Then you get the bag. It's probably, crushed grapes. I just have never used this stuff. Maybe if I order like an appliance or like a bookshelf, I could see myself using it for that. But for groceries, something I've never used. But everyone else on the planet, except me, uses this. So I'm the only human being that doesn't use Uber Eats or, pick up stuff like this. But moving on. But as we can see, Walmart, the biggest retailer here in the continental United States, was able to pivot handsomely, very well. Curbside dining. Now, when you look at this, any of my viewers from up north, New York, this looks beautiful, doesn't it? Look, you got the outside dining. It's not hot. This is possibly September up north. Not October, September. You have the greenery. Everything looks nice. Look at this. This looks beautiful. Look at this, right? However, this is not the way it started. It's the power of trend, the power of plants, a little bit of greenery, and you have a patio, right? But this is not the way it looked when you started. When the pandemic started and New York was on lockdown and they finally reopened businesses, this is what it looked like. Like, if you can see it, it's literally in the street. Like this gazebo. This is an urban gazebo. This gazebo is in the street, like in front of this BMW, this Benz. Like, this car is parked. This is a parking spot. So they literally took the restaurant outside. So this is what they look like now. But at the beginning, at the Genesis, this is what it looked like. Doesn't look classy. Doesn't look like someplace you want to eat. But if you wanted to dine out, which after the curfew was lifted in New York, everyone wanted to dine out. They were like, look, please, I don't care. Get me outside. And this is what it finally looked like at the end. But, I want to be very clear. This is what they started off like. This is, again, what they started off like. Not really, someplace that you want to dine. I'm always concerned about, because I have teenage drivers and as kids, and I'm like, I would be very, I know after this show, people are going to be like, man, this guy lives in a bubble. He is afraid to use Uber Eats. He's afraid to dine on the street. Because I have teenage drivers, I like at any given time, a teenage driver can just be texting and driving, and now they're on the plate with my shrimp scampi. So I would be very like, that's just me. Like, I'm always looking for an exit. I'm always thinking about, okay, how can we escape this if something happens? And a teenage driver texting and driving, trying to go TikTok, doing a TikTok while driving, and then ram into this barricade. It's not even a barricade. Then I'm dead, eating shrimp scampi. So again, but every other person on the planet does this except me. But, again, this is what they look like now. This is how they started off. So as you can see, the hospitality industry was able to pivot and pivot well. Like now, so here it is. You had a restaurant that had occupancy for 80. Now we have the outside. We didn't even have a patio. Now we have a patio. So we went from 80 to now we serve 120. Quite remarkable. And that's the way you pivot, ladies and gentlemen. Other hangout again. So now this location, as you can see, if you look farther up, this has actual barricades. So I would feel a little more safe or a little safer with this one. This one has barricades. So a car coming down and smashing into you is very unlikely, or you might live. With this, is like it's a little 2x4. So I would be like, take me inside. I'll wear my mask, right? But anyway, this is the current situation now. They added plants, they added cute umbrellas, and now again they have increased their seating capacity so they can serve more, generate more revenue, and serve more customers. It's a win-win. Again, here's a perfect example how businesses were able to pivot during the pandemic. Again, the ones who were really about business were able to say, how can we capitalize off of this? We're not going to just sit here and wither away and wait for a federal grant. No. How can we pivot? Businesses like this pivoted and pivoted well and were rewarded handsomely. Again, here's another shot. Again, it looks great with the umbrellas. I would just prefer to have the barricade, like if you scroll all the way up to the end on the right, to the right of the picture, in front of the white car. Those barricades are loaded with water and they weigh a ton once you have a water in them. So I would feel safer at a restaurant where there's barricades. This is just 2x4 plywood, very unsafe, but business is open and the lines are around the building. To let you know that this is here to stay. This is the outside seating. Now, they have tents. They have tents to let you know, like, hey, this business is not only about we're going to capitalize on the pandemic, but we're going to implement what we got from the pandemic. They have tents, ladies and gentlemen. So no, it's raining. What are you talking about? We can't sit outside. Of course you can't sit outside. Our tent, our servers have raincoat. Listen, Chick-fil-A. Oh my God. Let's talk about the king that does this thing, the king of customer experience. Chick-fil-A. I was at Chick-fil-A because my kids are Chick-fil-A ambassadors. unfortunately, they eat so much chicken, they have feathers. I saw my son was sleeping and saw he had feathers at the back of his head. That's how much Chick-fil-A he eats. But true story, right? But anyway, Chick-fil-A, I was at the drive-thru with my son, and the Chick-fil-A individuals in the drive-thru, it was raining and it was cold. They are so gangster with it. Chick-fil-A I think they created it. I don't know if this is a Chick-fil-A, if this is a unique only to Chick-fil-A, if this is proprietary to Chick-fil-A, but they have a Chick-fil-A umbrella / raincoat. I kid you not. Listen, pull up to Chick-fil-A in your city when it's raining. They have a Chick-fil-A raincoat umbrella, so it allows them to hold the POS, the point of sale, in their hand, the little tablet in their hand, so they don't have to fumble with the laptop. I mean, with the umbrella. So they have the device. They're covered, totally covered, and come to you smiling. They're like, "Hey, Mr. Walters, how may I take your order?" So I guess this individual for this restaurant saw Chick-fil-A and was inspired and said, "We are not going to be closed because it's raining, and we are not going to lose all of that money." So you think of each of these tables can possibly hold 6. When you look at $30 a plate, 6 times 30 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tables. It's easy to say we're raining. Oh, we're full on the inside, so we're going to let all that money go. Or you can say, how can we capitalize and pivot into something that was handed to us? A blessing, a divine download came from the heavens and say, look, here's a position to scale your business. A lot of people are going to be afraid and thinking that it's the end of the world. But you, my friend, as an entrepreneur, you can scale this and turn this from a pandemic into a bandemic and get bands on it, right? And this business owner said, yo, you know what? I'm going to get some tents. Yes, this person was probably inspired driving through Atlanta, looking at under the bridges and seeing the homeless and said, ta-da, tents. Yes. Continuing to pivot during the pandemic. Remote working was something that was, wasn't as popular. Some individuals, I had a friend, I have a friend that my brother works in IT. So sometimes, even before the pandemic, he was mobile. And there was a friend, Shanita from Chicago, she's into IT as well. So she always would work from home. She had the luxury. But pandemic came around. Everyone was locked down. Remote work became the norm. I have cousins, right? I have younger cousins, right? And they're like, well, I need a job, Uncle Wes, I need a job, or Cousin Wes. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you can do this, you can do this. And they're like, if it ain't remote, I can't do it. No. They look at me straight up. Like, I'm like, hey, I got a video shoot. I need another camera op. Is it remote? I'm like, no, you have to come to the site. We have to go to the client and shoot. Nah, I can't do it. With the straight face, no money. He's broke, but he's like, nah, Cousin Wes, if it ain't remote, I ain't doing it. This is the type of people these are the generation that are coming behind us. All they know is remote work. Good luck trying to convince one of them to be like, yeah, listen, you got to show up to the building. You mean, can I show up on the Zoom, or I got to show up? Like, no, you got to show up. Like, you mean I really have to be there in person, like me or my avatar? No, you have to show up. I'm not interested. That's the generation that we're dealing with. So remote working became something that was the norm, the default setting for the pandemic. And again, now a lot of businesses have implemented, it's here to stay. A lot of businesses are saying, like, why are we spending all of this money for the space when we don't need, so the studies after the pandemic have proven that most employees, businesses like the Home Depot, exponential growth, a lot of businesses, productivity increased during the pandemic. Productivity increased during the pandemic. So a lot of businesses were like, why are we paying for all of this rental space? A lot of businesses were downsized, and now they have a smaller space where employee 1, 2, and 3 show up on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and the other employees show up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So like there's no need for everyone to ever be in the office at the same time. And if there's ever a group meeting, the ones who are not in the office simply jump on the Zoom. So remote working is something that came about more in the pandemic, and now that's here to stay. Moving on, touchless POS, point of sales. Because of the germs and COVID, this was something that was brought. One of my mentors said what the pandemic did was sped up technology. I'm sure this technology was already created. It was probably scheduled to be released in probably 2025. But because of the pandemic, they were like, look, we need this now. So a lot of things that were possibly already created or not created, the things that were already created were pushed up in our release date. And also the things that it forced engineers and designers to let the creative juices flow and be like, okay, how can we allow individuals to pay without touching? So these were things, if it was not created already, if it was not on a timeline, were pushed up exponentially quickly. Like, hey, we need this now. POS. This was, again, not so much created in the pandemic, because if you've stayed at the Ritz before, and the Ritz and the Marriott Marquis, those kind of establishments are kind of always ahead of the curve. So the Ritz had what keyless entry before the pandemic, but now it's pretty much, you can find this at the Sheraton. You can find this at it's the default setting right now for any hotelier. If you're a hotelier, you should have a wireless keyless entry. So again, this was something that was not invented because of the pandemic. I could say clearly it was at the Ritz prior to the pandemic, but now I'm sure if you go to a Red Roof Inn, I don't know, I haven't been to a Red Roof Inn, but it's so common right now. The technology is no longer new, so the price has been reduced. So I'm sure you can find this at pretty much every hotel that you go to. All right. So now question time. Here it is. I shared with you businesses in the hospitality industry, restaurants and hotels, and also from a retail side in regards to the mobile POSs, that businesses, technologies that are here to stay. The question is, why is it in 2023? And this is not a rhetorical question. I need answers. So I'm not asking just because it's the end of the slides and I want to filibuster around. No. I would really like you to take the time, take the rest of the day and answer this question. Why in the world you as a business owner are not implementing these things? If you have a business that's a service-based business, or particularly in the hospitality industry, restaurants, hotels, or retail, why are you not implementing these technologies? At this point, the technology is so cheap. Like, it costs, your cell phone costs more than it is to run these technologies on a monthly basis. It's so cheap. And I'm making this broadcast not because I have nothing better to do, because I have visited businesses all through the fourth quarter and for the 3 days in January, and I'm still seeing relic technology that is outdated, technology where I literally have to press. Again, I have no problem pressing because, I feel that, being politically correct, that the pandemic, in my circle, the pandemic is over, right? So I have no problem pressing the keys. But why don't you have the technology that would give me the option to either press the keys or just hold my smartphone or just put my debit card right next to the reader? Why? I stayed at a bread and breakfast not too long ago, and fumbling with the key, the lady at the front desk gave me the wrong key. No, it wasn't a bread and breakfast. It was an Airbnb. Didn't have keyless entry, had an actual key. How about I get there? This was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Flight, got in late, got to the Airbnb, in a neighborhood I don't know. It was poorly lit, and they were actual standard keys. No, I'm not making this up. Like keys, like metal keys, and it was the wrong key. Was I happy after being in the airport all night? No. Had to call the lady. Hey, look, the key's not working. Like, are you, the lady, she's sleeping, which she's mad. I understand. I would be mad too. Somebody calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I'm like, I need to get in because I paid for this room. Oh, are you sure the key's in? I'm like, listen, I'm in my 40s. I know how to use a key. It's not working. So she had to get out her bed, come down, and tested the key to prove me wrong. Oh, you're right. The key's not working. She had the wrong key in there. This could have easily been alleviated if she was home. And let's just say the code was wrong. And I called and said, hey, the code is not working. From her mobile device, she could have been like, all right, I'm going to let you in. I'll deal with the code tomorrow. Yes. The time freedom that allowed her to do, to keep staying from her bed. Oh, the code is not working. I'm going to unlock the door right here. Boom. And she's in. Why are you not using this technology when it's there? Why? I mean, like, it's there. Like, as a restaurant owner, if you have a sidewalk of just wasted real estate, why are you not expanding your seating capacity? Why not? Now is a great time to get a free, probably not now, while the pandemic was going on, free pass from your city officials. They were going to be very lax on, yeah, of course you can put chairs here. Yeah, people are going to walk around when they're going to be on the sidewalk, and when they get to your restaurant, they're going to walk in the street and get back on the sidewalk. The time for that excuse is past. You missed it. You missed it. So again, if you have a business that's in retail or in the hospitality industry, please implement this technology. It's there. It's not far away. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using it. And those who have used it or who have implemented it have proven that they have been rewarded handsomely. All right. So that's it. Take the rest of the day and ask yourself, why are you not implementing this? Take this video, watch it with your team, and find ways of how you can implement these technologies. All right. So that's it. I told you this one was going to be in and out real quick. First show for 2023. I hate dating the shows, but it's great to be back. And we have a lot of great things coming up. We have a lot of great things cooking up. I have an amazing co-host that's going to be with me. Don't want to give too much out, but a lot of the feedback has been, wish you're so masculine. You're so masculine. I heard you. So we're going to have some feminine energy as a co-host. We're going to have some estrogen. And she is a breath of fresh air. She's just like Shay. Shay used to be here, Shay in the morning. So she's a breath of fresh air, super feminine. So total balance. So it's not going to be all of the ones who are complaining, sending me DMs. You're just so, I get it. I hear you. I've heard you, and we've made changes. So we've pivoted. Instead of just me, the ones who are offended by the way I speak, the ones who say, you're so masculine, you're so abrasive, hey, I'm here to serve you. So if that's what you're saying in the feedback, I support it. And we've added some lavender flowers to the recordings. We're going to have some lavender flowers, some feminine energy coming in. And so she's going to be here possibly next week. So looking forward to serving you guys next week. Again, have an amazing day. They say, the researchers say, the first week of the year is a microcosm of the rest of the year. So start hard, swing hard, run hard this first week because you're setting the tone. All right? See you guys later. It was a pleasure. Peace.